Taiho stood before the massive glass walls of Nexus Prime Station and watched the stars. Behind him, the Galactic Council Chamber buzzed with the voices of 100 different species. Some chirped. Some rumbled like distant thunder. Others spoke in frequencies that human ears could barely hear. He adjusted his formal uniform and tried to calm his racing heart. This was it. After 200 years of watching from the shadows, humanity was finally being invited to join the galaxy. Hana moved beside him, her military uniform crisp and perfect. "You ready for this?" she asked quietly. Her eyes scanned the crowd with the careful attention of someone trained to spot threats. "We've prepared for this moment my entire life," Taiho said. "Earth's children are finally coming home." Bora appeared on his other side, carrying a small data device. Her eyes shone with excitement. "The technology transfers are ready. Medical cures for 17 major diseases. Clean fusion reactor designs. Terraforming protocols that could make dead worlds bloom. They're going to be amazed." The chamber bell rang 3 times. Every being in the room turned toward the central platform where the council elders sat. The Velmari representative stood first, his silver skin catching the light like polished metal. He was tall and thin, ancient beyond human understanding. When he spoke, his voice filled the room without seeming loud. "We acknowledge the humans of Earth," he said. "You have watched the stars for so long. You have built your ships in silence. You have reached out your hand. Today, we take it." Taiho walked forward. The crowd parted for him like water. He climbed the steps to the platform and bowed with respect. "On behalf of humanity, I thank you. We come with open hearts and open hands. We wish only to learn from you and share what little we know." A Draken representative laughed. It was a harsh sound like rocks grinding together. The Draken were warriors, massive and covered in scales that looked like living armor. "Little you know? We have seen your ships, human. We have watched your wars. You are young but not weak. We hope our strength can serve the peace we all desire," Taiho said carefully. The Valmari elder nodded slowly. "Then let us speak of what humanity offers and what humanity needs." The negotiations took 3 days. Taiho presented everything Earth had prepared. Bora explained the medical technologies with passion, showing how human research had cured diseases that killed billions. She demonstrated the fusion reactors that could power entire cities without pollution. She showed terraforming data that proved humanity could turn hostile planets into gardens. The council representatives took it all. They asked questions. They made copies of everything. And they smiled, but their smiles made Hana nervous. "They're too happy," she whispered to Taiho during a break. "They're taking everything we offer and giving nothing back." "Patience," Taiho said. "Trust takes time to build." On the 3rd day, the council made their decision. The Velmari elder stood once more. "Humanity has proven itself worthy of joining the galactic community. We accept your gifts with gratitude. We recognize your desire for peace." Taiho felt his chest swell with pride. "However," the elder continued, "you are young. Your species has existed in space for barely 2 centuries. Others here have sailed the stars for 50,000 years. You have much to learn before you can stand as equals." The pride in Taiho's chest turned cold. "We offer humanity a place among us. You will be given territories to govern. You will be protected by our laws. You will contribute to our prosperity. In time, perhaps in a few thousand years, you may earn a voice in the council itself." Hana's hand moved to Taiho's arm. Her grip was tight. "Warning, what territories?" Taiho asked slowly. A hologram appeared above the platform. It showed the galaxy in blue light. Most of it glowed bright with different colors, marking different empires and alliances. But at the edge, far from the rich center, A section glowed dull red. "The frontier," said the Draken representative. "Space that borders the unknown, where pirates hunt and resources are scarce, where the strong survive and the weak perish. Perfect for a young species to prove themselves. Those are the worst regions in the galaxy," Laura whispered. "Nothing there but danger and dead worlds." Taiho stared at the map. He thought about walking away. He thought about taking humanity's gifts and going home. But he looked at the council and saw opportunity. They thought humanity was weak. They thought humans would fail in the frontier. Maybe that was the test. Maybe humanity just needed to prove them wrong. "We accept," Taiho said. Hannah's grip tightened painfully. "Ambassador, we accept your generous offer." Taiho continued louder. "Humanity will take the frontier territories. We will prove our worth through our actions, not our words." The council chamber filled with the sounds of approval. Some species chirped happily. Others rumbled their satisfaction. The Velmari elder smiled that same too happy smile. "Then it is decided. Welcome to the galactic community, humans of Earth." That night, in their quarters on the station, Hannah paced back and forth. "This is wrong. All of it is wrong. They took our technology and gave us garbage space in return. They gave us a chance," Taiho said, but his voice lacked conviction. Bora sat at the table, reviewing the council's offer on her data pad. The frontier territories have 17 barely habitable planets and 200 dead rocks. The nearest trade route is 6 months away. There are no resources, no support, and no backup if something goes wrong. "Then we'll make something from nothing," Taiho said. "That's what humans do best. That's what slaves do," Hannah snapped. "We just gave them our greatest innovations for free and accepted the worst land in the galaxy. They're using us. You don't know that." "Yes, I do. And so do you. You're just too hopeful to admit it." Taiho walked to the window. Outside, ships from 1,000 worlds docked and departed. The galaxy was so much bigger than he had imagined. So much older. Maybe Hannah was right. Maybe the council saw humanity as nothing more than useful children. But it was too late now. The agreement was made. Earth's government had approved it. Millions of humans were already preparing to move to the frontier territories. Colony ships were being loaded. Families were saying goodbye to Earth. "We make this work," Taiho said finally. "We prove them wrong. We turn the frontier into something beautiful. And when we do, they'll see us as equals." Hannah stopped pacing. She looked at him with sad eyes. "And if you're wrong? If they never see us as equals no matter what we do?" Taiho had no answer. He turned back to the stars and hoped the help was enough. 5 years had passed since humanity joined the Galactic Council. Yuna stood on the observation deck of New Jeju Colony and watched the sunrise. It was beautiful. The sky burned orange and pink as the terraforming atmosphere caught the light. When humans first arrived, this planet had been a frozen rock with toxic air. Now trees grew in the valleys. Rivers ran clear and cold. Children played in parks that hadn't existed a year ago. "Governor, the council representative is here," her assistant said. Yuna sighed. Council representatives never brought good news. She walked to her office where a Velmari official waited. He looked around the room with barely hidden contempt. "Your colony has done well," he said, though his tone suggested otherwise. "The council is impressed that primitive terraforming could achieve such results." Yuna bit back her anger. Their terraforming wasn't primitive. It was revolutionary. But she had learned that arguing with council officials was pointless. "Thank you. What can I do for you?" "The council has reviewed the resource surveys of New Jeju. The mineral deposits here are more valuable than initially believed. As per the Resource Contribution Act, you must increase your contribution from 20% to 40% of all extracted materials. 40%? That's more than half our economy. The act is clear. All frontier colonies must contribute their fair share to galactic security. Yuna wanted to scream. Galactic security. The same security that never protected human colonies from pirate raids. The same security that didn't help when New Jeju's supply ships were attacked last year. Human patrol ships had fought off those pirates. Human lives had been lost. And the Council had sent a formal message saying frontier incidents were humanity's responsibility. I'll submit the new quotas, Yuna said through clenched teeth, across the frontier. Similar scenes played out. Every human achievement was met with new demands. Every innovation was copied and claimed by Council species. Every request for assistance was denied. Captain Minho knew this better than most. He commanded the patrol fleet that protected the shipping lanes between human colonies. His ships were fast and tough, designed for quick strikes and long hunts. They chased pirates through asteroid fields and dead space where Council ships refused to go. Contact ahead, his sensor officer reported. Velmari diplomatic vessel under attack. 3 pirate cruisers. Minho didn't hesitate. All ships battle formation. Maximum speed. His crew moved with practiced efficiency. They had done this 100 times before. The human ships accelerated hard, their fusion drives pushing them to speeds that would kill most species. Humans could take higher gravity. It gave them an edge in combat. The battle was short and brutal. Minho's ships hit the pirates from 3 angles. Railguns tore through pirate armor. Missiles found their targets with perfect accuracy. Within minutes, 2 pirate ships were drifting wrecks. The 3rd tried to run. Minho's fastest P caught it and disabled its engines. Velmari vessel, you're safe now, Minho transmitted. The response came after a long pause. Acknowledged human vessel. We will file a report with the Council. No thanks. No offer of assistance. Just a formal acknowledgement. Minho checked his casualty reports. 3 ships damaged. 15 crew members injured. 4 dead. 4 humans had died saving Velmari diplomats, who couldn't even say thank you. Sir, should we request compensation for our losses? His first officer asked. Minho laughed bitterly. They'll tell us Frontier Patrol is our responsibility. Save your breath. He was right. A month later, the Council sent a formal message. They appreciated humanity's dedication to frontier security, but reminded them that patrol duties were part of their territorial obligations. No compensation. No recognition. Nothing. Meanwhile, Doyan worked in a research facility on Earth. He was an engineer specializing in quantum computing. His job was to review technology exchanges with Council species. What he found made his blood run cold. The fusion reactor designs humanity had shared 5 years ago were now being sold across the galaxy. But the patents were registered to Dracon corporations. The medical cures Bora had presented were saving billions of lives. But Velmari pharmaceutical companies took the credit and the profits. The terraforming techniques that made New Jeju bloom were being used on 100 worlds. None of them acknowledged human innovation. They're stealing everything, Doyan told his supervisor. Every technology we share gets copied, renamed, and sold back to us. What do you want me to do about it? His supervisor asked tiredly. File a complaint with the Council? They'll dismiss it. They always do. So we just accept it? What choice do we have? We're trying to build trust. We're trying to prove we belong. Doyan looked at his reports. 5 years of sharing. 5 years of innovation. 5 years of humanity giving everything and receiving nothing. This isn't building trust. This is being exploited. But the worst was yet to come. Ambassador Taiho still believed. Despite everything, he still thought humanity could win the Council's respect through dedication and hard work. He still presented requests for better territories. He still asked for voting rights. He still hoped. The Council denied every request, always with the same reason. Humanity was too young, too inexperienced, too primitive. Maybe in a few more centuries, then came the protection contribution. Law. Taiho sat in the council chamber as the Velmari elder explained the new regulation. The galaxy faces increased threats. Pirates grow bolder. Unknown dangers lurk beyond our borders. All species must contribute to galactic defense. How much? Taiho asked, though he already knew he wouldn't like the answer. 40% of all resources and economic output. From all territories. The chamber erupted. Smaller species protested. Even some of the older races argued. But the vote was called quickly. The law passed with overwhelming support from the major powers. Taiho stood slowly. 40% is too much. Human colonies are barely self-sufficient. This will cripple our economy. Then perhaps humanity expanded too quickly, the Draken representative said. Perhaps you should have been more careful with your resources. We've been careful. We've been efficient. We've turned dead worlds into homes for billions. And now you must pay for the security that allows you to keep those homes. What security? When pirates attack our ships, where is the Council? When our colonies need help, who comes? We protect ourselves. The Velmari elder raised his hand for silence. The law has passed, Ambassador. Humanity will comply or face sanctions. What sanctions? Expulsion from the Council. Loss of all territorial rights. Classification as a hostile power. Taiho felt the words like a physical blow. After everything humanity had given, after all the technologies shared and lives spent protecting Council interests, after 5 years of trying to prove their worth, this was the response. We'll need time to adjust our economy, Taiho said quietly. You have 6 months. That night, Taiho sat alone in his quarters and reviewed the past 5 years. Every report showed the same pattern. Humanity gave. The Council took. Humanity asked for fairness. The Council demanded more. Hannah had been right from the beginning. They were being used. His communication console blinked. A message from Yuna on New Jeju. Then another from Minho's fleet. Then dozens more from colonies across the frontier. All saying the same thing. Enough. How much longer would humanity accept this? How much more could they give before there was nothing left? Taiho didn't know. But he was starting to understand that hope wasn't enough. Faith wasn't enough. Good intentions meant nothing to people who saw you as tools to be used and discarded. He thought about his brother Seojun, leading a colony on a distant frontier world called Haven. Seojun's last message had been optimistic. They had found something valuable, something that could change everything for humanity. Taiho hoped his brother was right. Because humanity needed something to change. They couldn't keep giving forever. Seojun walked through the streets of Haven's capital city and smiled. 15 years of work had built this. Where once there was only dust and radiation, now there were homes and schools, and parks filled with laughing children. 12 million people called Haven home. They had earned every inch of this world with their blood and sweat. The survey results are confirmed, said Nari, walking beside him. She was the colony's chief medical researcher, brilliant and dedicated. The chromium deposits run deeper than we thought. This might be the richest find in the galaxy. Chromium, the rare element that made faster-than-light travel possible. Wars had been fought over deposits a fraction of the size of what Haven possessed. This could change everything for humanity. This could give them real power in the Council. We need to file the claim immediately, Siajon said, before someone else tries to take it. Already done. The paperwork went through this morning. Haven's cronium belongs to humanity. Siajun should have known it wouldn't be that simple. The Council's response came within days. Not weeks or months, days. The message was formal and cold. The Galactic Resource Management Act declared that all strategic resources discovered in frontier territories would be managed by the Council for the benefit of all species. Haven's cronium was too important to be controlled by one species, especially a young species like humanity. The Draken hegemony would take control of Haven. They would manage the extraction. They would distribute the resources fairly. Humanity would be compensated and relocated to another frontier world. Siajon read the message 3 times. Then he started laughing. It was the kind of laughter that scared people because it sounded too close to crying. They want us to leave, he said to the Colony Council. They want us to abandon 15 years of work. They want to take the world we built and give us nothing. Hyen, the military commander of Haven's defense force, slammed his fist on the table. We fought off pirate raids. We survived crop failures and equipment breakdowns. We lost people building this colony. And they think we'll just walk away? The council has authorized the transfer, said one of the council members nervously. If we refuse, what? They'll force us off our own world? Siojin's laughter had stopped. Now his voice was cold and hard. Let them try. Ambassador Taiho made the trip to Haven as fast as he could. He arrived to find his brother standing on the governor's platform, addressing a crowd of thousands. They think we're weak. Siojun shouted. They think because we chose peace, we can't choose war. They think because we've been patient, we'll be slaves. They're wrong. The crowd roared their approval. Te, who pushed through to reach his brother. Siajon, stop this. You can't fight the entire council. I'm not fighting the council. I'm defending my home. They have the legal authority? Legal? Siajon turned on him. You still believe in their laws? After everything they've done? They stole our technology. They worked our people to death. They took our resources and gave us nothing. And now they want our homes. When does it end, brother? When do we say enough? Not like this. Not with violence. They fired the first shot when they decided we were slaves instead of equals. Before Taiho could respond, alarms began blaring. Ships were dropping out of FTL at the edge of the system. Draken warships. Dozens of them. The Draken commander's message was broadcast across all channels. Attention Haven Colony. By order of the Galactic Council, you are to evacuate immediately. You have 48 hours to comply. Resistance will be met with appropriate force. Siajin looked at his brother. Tell them no. I can't do that. Then I will. Siojan activated his communicator. This is Governor Siajun of Haven Colony. We refuse your illegal order. This world belongs to humanity. We will defend it. The Draken commander laughed. You have civilian mining ships and a handful of patrol boats. We have warships. Stand down or be destroyed. Come and try. What happened next would be debated for generations. The Draken claimed Haven fired first. Human records showed Draken ships opening fire on civilian evacuation transports that were leaving the planet. Maybe someone panicked. Maybe someone wanted an excuse. Maybe it didn't matter. The result was the same. DRAKON warships began bombarding Haven's orbital stations. Human patrol boats fought back with everything they had. They were outgunned and outnumbered, but they fought anyway. Some rammed damaged Draken ships. Others drew fire away from civilian transports. On the surface, people ran for emergency shelters. But not everyone made it. A Draken missile struck a school on the eastern continent. 847 people died instantly. Most of them were children. NAR. I was in her lab when the building shook. Emergency systems activated. Alarm screamed. She grabbed her research on the Velmari plague cure and ran for the exit. The building collapsed behind her. Years of work to save billions of Velmari lives. She held it in her hands. Then she saw the school. The smoke rising from where it used to be. The emergency crews pulling small bodies from the rubble. Children who would never grow up. Families destroyed in an instant. Nari looked at her research. The cure that would save the species that did this. The species that took everything humanity offered and demanded more. The species that killed human children for resources. She walked to an incinerator and threw the research inside. Watched it burn. Let them die of their plague. Let them suffer the way they made humanity suffer. Hannah's defense fleet arrived within hours. She had been patrolling nearby systems when the distress call came. Her ships were fast and armed with weapons the Council had never seen. Humanity had been holding back. Not anymore. The battle turned instantly. Hannah's ships tore through Draken formations with brutal efficiency. But Taiho's orders came through before she could destroy the Draken fleet completely. Stand down. That's a direct order from Earth's government. They killed civilians. Hannah shouted into her communicator. And if you destroy Council ships, they'll declare war on all of humanity. Stand down now. Hannah wanted to refuse. Every instinct screamed at her to finish what the Draken started. But orders were orders. She pulled her fleet back and watched the Draken ships retreat. On the surface, Draken ground forces had captured the governor's building. They dragged Seojun out in chains. The execution was broadcast across the galaxy as a warning to anyone who defied the Council. Taeho watched his brother die on a screen thousands of light years away. Seojun didn't beg, didn't plead. He looked into the camera and spoke his last words directly to humanity. We tried their way. We were patient. We were kind. We were peaceful. And they killed us for it. Don't make my mistake. Don't trust them. Don't serve them. Don't forgive them. The gun fired. Seojun fell. The broadcast ended. Taihyo sat in darkness and felt something break inside him. Not his heart. That had broken years ago, watching humanity be used and exploited. This was different. This was the death of hope. The end of faith. The moment when he finally understood what Hannah had known from the beginning. There would be no earning the Council's respect. No proving humanity's worth. No building trust through patience and dedication. The Council didn't want equals. They wanted servants. And when humanity tried to be more than that, they killed them. Across human space, the reaction was immediate and unified. Protests erupted on every world. Earth's government fell within days. The peace party that had guided humanity's Council membership was destroyed in the elections. The new government ran on a simple platform: humanity first. Humanity only. Humanity forever. Taiho received the notification. His ambassadorship was terminated. New leadership was taking over. Leadership that didn't believe in the Council. Leadership that didn't want peace. Leadership that wanted justice. He recorded one final message to the Council. His resignation speech. The words came easily because they were true. We offered our hand. You took our arm. We offered our knowledge. You stole our future. We offered peace. You gave us graves. We're done. Humanity is done. We tried your way. We believed in your laws. We trusted in your fairness. You taught us that trust is for fools and peace is for victims. Thank you for the lesson. We won't forget it. The message went out across every communication channel in the galaxy. Billions watched as humanity's ambassador to the Galactic Council walked away from everything he had worked for and in laboratories and military bases across human space. Scientists and soldiers began preparing for what came next. The age of human patience was over. Something new was beginning. Something the galaxy would soon regret. Gina won the election with 94% of the vote. No Earth leader in history had ever received such overwhelming support. Her message was simple and clear. Humanity would never bow to the Council again. Humanity would never share its gifts with species that treated them like slaves. Humanity would stand alone and stand strong. Her first act as Prime Minister was to activate Article 39 of the Galactic Charter. Sovereign withdrawal. Any species could leave the Council if they chose. Few ever did, because isolation meant vulnerability. But Gina didn't care about vulnerability. She had other plans. "We're leaving," she announced to the galaxy. "Every human colony, every human ship, every human citizen will withdraw from Council space. We're done being your servants. We're done being your victims. We're going home." The Council's response was mocking. The Velmari elder gave a speech about how humanity was making a mistake, how isolation would destroy them, how they would come crawling back within a decade, begging for readmission. "Let the children throw their tantrum," he said. "They'll learn that the galaxy is too dangerous for those who stand alone." But humanity wasn't standing alone. They were standing together. And they were standing on technology the Council had never imagined. Sora directed the intelligence agency that had been operating in secret since humanity first joined the Council. Her people had been watching and learning. They had documented every slight, every theft, every betrayal. Now she released it all. The files went public across every network in the galaxy. Detailed records of how Council species had stolen human technology, how they had copied fusion reactors and claimed them as their own innovation, how they had taken medical cures and sold them for profit, how they had used humanity's goodwill to enrich themselves while keeping humans poor and powerless. But that wasn't the worst revelation. "We've been lying to you," Sora's message said. "Every technology we shared was deliberately limited. We gave you toys and called them gifts. The fusion reactors we provided, they run at 15% efficiency compared to what we actually use. The medical cures, early prototypes that barely work compared to our real medicine. The terraforming technology, children's tools compared to what we can actually do." She showed proof. Real human fusion reactors that produced 1,000 times more power. Medical technology that could cure diseases in hours instead of months. Terraforming systems that could make a garden world in weeks instead of years. Quantum computers that made Council systems look like primitive calculators. "We held back because we wanted to be friends," Sora continued. "We didn't want to intimidate you. We didn't want to make you feel inferior. We wanted to grow together slowly. You mistook our kindness for weakness. You thought we were primitive because we chose to appear that way. You were wrong." The galaxy reeled from the revelation. If humanity had been holding back that much, what else were they hiding? Admiral Yunji showed them. She stood on the bridge of the Defiant, humanity's first true warship. Behind her, through the viewport, stretched a fleet of 15,000 combat vessels. Not the patrol boats and mining ships the Council had seen. Real warships. Weapons platforms that could crack planets. Carriers that held fighter craft faster than anything in Council space. Dreadnoughts armed with weapons that violated half the Council's treaties on military technology. "This is Project Homecoming," Yunji announced. "Every human ship, station, and colony has been equipped with hidden military retrofits. Every civilian vessel can become a warship in minutes. Every colony has defensive systems you never detected. Every human in Council space has been trained for this moment. The evacuation began immediately. 18 months of carefully coordinated withdrawal. Human colonies packed up everything valuable and burned the rest. They weren't leaving gifts for the Council to steal. Human trade ships finished their contracts and never returned. Human workers quit their jobs and went home. Human students left their universities. Human diplomats closed their embassies. And everywhere they left, they took their technology with them. The medical centers humanity had built shut down. The fusion reactors stopped working because their human maintenance crews were gone. The terraforming projects failed without human expertise. The quantum communication networks collapsed. The Council had relied on human innovation without realizing it. Now that innovation was leaving. "This is insane," the Draken Emperor said during an emergency council session. "They can't just leave. We have treaties. We have agreements." "Read Article 39, Gina's recorded message replied. "Any species can withdraw. We're withdrawing. All of us forever. You'll be vulnerable. Pirates will destroy you. Economic collapse will starve your colonies. We'll take our chances. We'd rather face pirates than liars. We'd rather risk starvation than accept slavery." The Council tried threats. They tried sanctions. They tried blockades. None of it worked. Human ships simply fought their way through any obstacle. The Council forces that tried to stop them discovered that human military technology was just as advanced as everything else they had hidden. Battle of the Gateway showed the galaxy what humanity could do when they stopped holding back. A Council fleet of 200 ships tried to prevent human colony transports from leaving through a major warp gate. Admiral Yunji's fleet of 50 human warships met them. The battle lasted 11 minutes. When it was over, 170 Council ships were destroyed or disabled. Every human ship survived. The galaxy watched in shock as humanity's true military power was revealed. After that, no one tried to stop the evacuation. The final stage of withdrawal was the border. Human engineers deployed thousands of satellites along the edges of human space. Each satellite generated a quantum disruption field that made FTL travel impossible. The network created an impenetrable wall around human territory. The last human ship crossed the border. The satellites activated. Humanity's space became unreachable. The final message came from Hannah, now promoted to Fleet Admiral. She stood at the border and addressed the Council one last time. "We tried to be your friends. You made us your tools. We tried to be your partners. You made us your victims. We tried to be peaceful. You made us bury our children. So now we're none of those things. We're not your friends. We're not your partners. We're not peaceful. We're separate. We're isolated. We're done with you." She paused, looking directly at the camera. "Some of you are wondering if we'll attack, if we'll seek revenge for everything you did. The answer is no. We don't need revenge. We just need you to leave us alone. Stay out of our space. Stay away from our people. Pretend we don't exist. We'll do the same for you. But know this: we could destroy you. Every ship you have. Every world you control. We have weapons you've never imagined. We have technology that would seem like magic to you. We could conquer the galaxy in months. We're choosing not to. We're choosing isolation instead. Be grateful for that choice. Because if you ever threaten us again, if you ever attack our people again, if you ever cross our border with hostile intent, we'll stop choosing peace. We tried your way. We believed in cooperation. We trusted in galactic community. You taught us that the strong devour the weak and the trusting die first. Thank you for the lesson. Now live with the consequences." The transmission ended. The border sealed. Humanity disappeared behind their quantum wall. Inside human space, a transformation began. Without the burden of supporting council demands, humanity's economy exploded. New technologies emerged every month. Population boomed as colonies expanded freely. Culture flourished without council censorship. Science advanced at incredible speed without council regulations. Tai-Ho watched it all from his home on Earth. He was no longer an ambassador. He was nobody special anymore. Just a man who had tried to build bridges and watched them burn. But he didn't regret the withdrawal. He watched humanity thrive in isolation and understood something important. They didn't need the galaxy. They never had. The Council needed them. All those older species with their ancient ways and stagnant cultures needed human innovation and energy, and hoped that now they would learn to survive without it. Outside the border, in Council space, the first cracks began to show. Trade routes that humans had protected were now flooded with pirates. Colonies that relied on human terraforming started to fail. Medical centers closed without human cures. Fusion reactors broke down without human maintenance. The Council tried to fix it themselves, but they had never learned how the technology really worked. They had just copied what humans gave them. Now the copies were failing, and the originals were gone. They'll be back, the Velmari elder said confidently. They'll realize they need us. But Gina's government had no intention of returning. Humanity was building something new. Something better. Something the galaxy would watch from the outside and finally understand what they had lost. 6 months after humanity sealed its borders, the first Council species collapsed. The Torgal civilization had relied heavily on human medical technology to treat a genetic disorder that affected their entire population. Without the treatment, their birth rate plummeted. Within a year, they were facing extinction. They sent desperate messages to the human border, begging for help. The messages bounced off the quantum wall. Unanswered. The Velmari plague returned worse than before. Nari's cure was gone, burned in grief and anger. The Velmari tried to recreate it from old records, but they didn't understand the underlying science. They had never bothered to learn. They had just taken the cure and sold it. Now 12 billion Velmari died choking on their own fluids while their emperor sent increasingly frantic requests to Earth that none were answered. Tai-Ho saw the casualty reports. Part of him felt guilt. Part of him remembered his brother's execution. The guilt was smaller than the memory. The frontier collapsed completely. Without human patrols, pirate attacks increased 4,000%. Trade ships traveled in armed convoys, or didn't travel at all. Colonies that couldn't defend themselves were raided and destroyed. The Council tried to send their own fleets, but they discovered something interesting. Their ships were slower than the pirates. Their weapons were less accurate. Their tactics were outdated. Humanity had been doing all the real fighting for years. The Council had just taken credit for it. Captain Minho, now Admiral Minho, watched the frontier burn from inside human space. His fleet patrolled the border, but they had strict orders. No crossings. No interventions. No mercy for people who had shown humanity none. There's a distress call from a colony ship, his censor officer reported. 200,000 civilians. Pirates have disabled their engines. They're asking anyone for help. Are they in our space? No, sir. Just outside the border. Then it's not our problem. The officer looked uncomfortable. Sir, there are children on that ship? Minho's jaw tightened. He remembered the children who died on Haven, the school that was destroyed. His orders were clear, but he was still human. Still felt compassion. Still hated seeing innocents suffer. Send this message. You have 1 hour to cross the border. If you make it into human space, we'll protect you. If you don't, you're on your own. The colony ship burned every emergency thruster they had. pushed their damaged engines past safety limits. They crossed the border with minutes to spare. Minho's fleet destroyed the pirates and escorted the civilians to a human station. "You can stay," Minho told them. "But you follow our rules now. You're not Council citizens anymore. You're refugees under human protection. That means you don't get to make demands. You don't get special treatment. You work, you contribute, and you're grateful. Understood?" They understood. Word spread. Other ships started making desperate runs for the human border. Not all of them made it. But those who did discovered that humanity would help those who helped themselves. The arrogant ones who demanded assistance as their right were turned away. The grateful ones who asked for a chance were accepted. Inside Council space, things got worse. The Draken hegemony fragmented into civil war over the chromium deposits on Haven. They had taken the world by force, but they couldn't extract the chromium efficiently. Human mining technology was far more advanced than they realized. The deposits that should have made them rich were useless without the expertise to harvest them. Draken factions blamed each other. Accusations flew. Old grudges surfaced. Within 2 years, the hegemony had split into 6 warring states. Billions died in the fighting over resources they couldn't even use. The Council tried to maintain order, but they were falling apart too. Without human technology and economic support, the Council's budget collapsed. They couldn't afford to maintain their fleets. They couldn't pay for the bureaucracy. Member species started withholding their contributions because they needed those resources to survive their own crises. 3 smaller species went completely extinct. 2 more were down to their last few thousand individuals. The galaxy that had seemed so stable and ancient was revealed to be a structure built on human support. Without that support, it crumbled. The Velnari Emperor himself made the journey to Earth's doorstep. His ship appeared at the border and broadcast on all frequencies. "I am Emperor Velros of the Velnari. I request an audience with Earth's leadership. I come to negotiate. I come to apologize. I come to beg if necessary." Taiho was brought out of retirement for this meeting. He stood at the border station and looked at the Emperor through the quantum wall. The proud being who had spoken down to humanity for years now looked desperate and old. "Ambassador Taiho," the Emperor began, "I have made terrible mistakes. The Council has made terrible mistakes. We treated you poorly. We failed to see your value. We ask for forgiveness. We ask for another chance. We need your help." Taiho listened in silence. He thought about all the years of trying to earn this creature's respect, all the technology shared, all the lives lost, all the insults endured. He thought about his brother dying on a screen while the galaxy watched. "You watched my brother die," Taiho said quietly. "You stood by while Draken ships murdered human children. You stole our innovations and called us primitive. You worked us to exhaustion and demanded more. For years, I begged you to treat us fairly. For years, I believed we could be partners. You taught me that I was a fool. We were wrong. Please, billions are dying. The plague is killing you the way you killed us. The difference is we died trying to help you. You're dying from your own arrogance. You would let us die? Where is human compassion?" Taiho smiled. It was not a kind smile. "We used all our compassion trying to be your friends. You burned it out of us. Now we're just watching you face the consequences of your choices. The cure. You have the cure for the plague. Nari developed it. Just give us that, and we'll leave you alone. Nari burned that research. She watched children die and decided that your lives weren't worth saving. I agree with her decision." The Emperor's face twisted with rage and despair. "You're monsters. You're letting billions die when you could save them. No, Taiho said calmly. We're letting you experience what you made us experience. We're teaching you what it feels like to beg for help and receive nothing. We're showing you the galaxy you created. How does it feel? This is genocide. This is justice. We're not killing you. We're just not saving you. There's a difference. You should understand it. You watched us die for years and called it policy. The transmission ended. The Emperor's ship stayed at the border for 3 more days, sending message after message. None were answered. Finally, it left. The Emperor died of the plague 6 months later. 3 billion Velmari followed him. The Council sent delegation after delegation. Each one was turned away with the same message. Humanity had tried peace. The Council had chosen exploitation. Now both sides would live with those choices. Forever docked by 2410, the Galactic Council no longer existed in any meaningful way. Some species maintained the pretense, but there was no real authority anymore. No united front. No galactic community. Just scattered civilizations trying to survive in a galaxy that suddenly seemed much more dangerous and much less friendly. Meanwhile, humanity flourished. Their population doubled, then tripled. New colony worlds bloomed into gardens. Megastructures rose around stars, harvesting energy on scales the Council had never imagined. Art, music, literature, and science all exploded in a golden age of human achievement. Admiral Hana commanded the border fleets with absolute authority. No Council ship crossed without permission. No Council probe penetrated their space. No Council signal reached human ears unless humans chose to hear it. But sometimes, rarely, human ships would appear in Council space. They would arrive at a world facing genocide, or a colony ship full of refugees, or a medical crisis that threatened innocence. The humans would intervene without explanation, save who they chose to save, destroy who they chose to destroy. Then they would vanish back across their border without speaking a word. The galaxy learned to recognize those interventions. When human ships appeared, you knew that someone worthy was being saved or someone terrible was being destroyed. You just didn't know which until it was over. Young aliens asked their elders about the humans. Why did they leave? Why don't they come back? Why do they help some people but ignore others? An old Velmari, one of the few who survived the plague, told the story. We had gods living among us, he said. They offered us their hand. We tried to take their arm. They offered us their knowledge. We stole their future. They offered us peace. We gave them graves. So they left. They took their light with them and left us in darkness. Now they return only as silent angels or avenging demons. We never know which until they're gone. Will they ever come back? Would you? If you tried to be kind and were treated cruelly? If you offered friendship and received betrayal? If you built beauty and watched others destroy it? Would you come back? The young alien had no answer. 50 years after humanity sealed its borders, Taiho stood in his garden on Earth. He was old now, his hair white, his body frail, but his mind was still sharp. He watched the stars and thought about everything that had happened. Sometimes he wondered if they had made the right choice. If isolation was really better than engagement. If humanity should have tried harder to make peace work. Then he remembered Seogen's last words. Don't trust them. Don't serve them. Don't forgive them. His brother had been right. Some people saw kindness as weakness. Some cultures saw cooperation as submission. Some civilizations would only respect strength and only respond to force. Humanity could have conquered the galaxy after they left. Their technology was that far ahead. Their military was that powerful. They could have burned the Council to ash and ruled the stars as emperors, but they didn't. They chose isolation instead. They chose to build their own paradise and let the council face the consequences of their own choices. That restraint, that mercy, that decision to walk away instead of destroy, that was the most powerful thing humanity had ever done. The galaxy feared what humanity could do, but they should have been more afraid of what humanity chose not to do. Because the fact that humans could destroy everything and chose not to was the only reason the galaxy still existed at all. Taiho's communicator chimed. A message from Admiral Hana, another council delegation at the border. Another request for humanity to return. What should I tell them? Hana asked. Te. Ho thought about it. Thought about all the years of trying. All the hope and faith and trust that had been betrayed. All the bridges burned and chances wasted. Tell them we tried their way, he said finally. Tell them we believed in their community. Tell them they had every chance to be our friends. Tell them they chose to be our masters instead. Tell them we chose to be neither friends nor servants. Tell them we chose to be unreachable. And tell them that's the kindest outcome they could have hoped for. The message was sent. The delegation left. The border remained sealed. Inside human space, children played under alien suns. Artists created beauty beyond imagination. Scientists unlocked the secrets of the universe. Humanity thrived in their chosen isolation, building a civilization that outshone anything the galaxy had ever seen. And outside the border, the council space remained dark and fractured, a constant reminder of what happens when you mistake kindness for weakness and turn friends into enemies. Humanity had walked away from peace, and the galaxy would regret it for the rest of time.